next. Now keep in mind, as a guest to the house, this is a room you probably wouldn't have seen in the Bell time. Kitchens were not a gathering place in the house. This was a room to work in. Usually this door that you came through was closed unless someone were going in or out. The idea being that it would help keep the sounds and smells of the kitchen right in the room. Especially during the summer months when you didn't want the heat of the kitchen range warming up the main part of the house. This stove would be lit first thing each morning by the Bell's hired hand. He was a young gentleman of 14 or 15 years old who lived in with the family. His first task each morning was to clean out the grates and light the kitchen stove so that it was up and running and ready for breakfast. This particular range was made right here in Brantford by what was known as the Buck Stove Works. And for its time, it is one of the better models, capable of burning both wood or coal. On the right-hand side of the range, you'll see the water reservoir. You see that little handle right in front of you there? That little silver handle on top? If you lift it up, you'll see the water reservoir, and that's where they got hot. Yeah, that's where they got hot water to do the dishes. Just lift right up, straight up. There you go.
This was an old one.
So they keep that full of water so that they always had hot water to wash their dishes and clean up after their meals. And then the warming closet above the stovetop was used to warm up plates and platters before they went to the dining room with food on them, or you could keep part of the meal warm while the rest was still being prepared. And here on the farm, Mrs. Bell often used it as a makeshift incubator for some of the farm animals that were born here. So a lot of chicks and goslings and ducklings were put up there. Now, without electricity in homes at the time, each day of the week usually had a specific task at hand. And Monday was commonly laundry day in most homes. Here in the back kitchen, you'll see the washing machine and equipment used to do all of the laundry at the time. The washing machine there in the corner would have been considered very modern in its day, but it was still all manually driven. That handle on top was pumped back and forth to turn the agitator inside the barrel. So it would go back and forth just like the agitator of an automatic washing machine. However, it was all done by muscle power, as it were. In the days that the Bells were here, the ladies were still commonly washing their whites in copper boilers. They weren't actually putting them through the washing machine. So the copper boiler up on top of the shelf there, and the hand agitator at the far end of the shelf, would be used right on top of the kitchen stove to wash all of the whites and linens. The scullery itself is where the dishes were washed. So that dish pan that you see in the counter there was Mrs. Bell's sink. Again, filled with hot water out of the kitchen stove, and then just simply emptied right outside when they were done the dishes. And this is where they'd store most of the everyday dinnerware, along with some of the other household amenities. In the floor is the trap door to the root cellar. So where you see that silver handle on the floor there, if you were to lift up that door, that's where they kept everything that needed cold storage.
It's like a